Welcome back. Week number 10 in the 2025 Premier League Darts in Manchester. And if you thought things were good when Gerwyn Price was hitting a 9-darter against Luke Littler, albeit in defeat, well, we've all been treated to a bit of a different clinic tonight. Not just from Aspinall, who was 6 out of 6 on the doubles against Rob Cross earlier tonight, but Manchester is delivering better than ever. However, it's not the best ever performance we've just seen and listened to on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel, because it's the third best in history in the Premier League. 123.4 from Michael van Gerwen in 2016, Laura. That is still a televised record. The broadcast record is just a tenth of a point better by Peter Wright. His personal best in the Premier League is the second best ever. That was 2017, the night before he would go on to win the UK Open at Minehead. So in Exeter, when he was beating Adrian Lewis, 119.5. But this performance, which you've just witnessed with Ian Danter, that is the third best performance in Premier League history.
And he made it look effortless, didn't he? He made it look really easy. Stephen Bunting again finding himself 10 plus average and right up against it, but you can't fault it. The performance was exceptional. I think we said it could have been almost a record breaker. Just a couple of darts missed at the outer ring, but you can forgive him that, because 67%, I think most players would bite your hand off to finish with those kind of finishing stats.
The conditions in Berlin last week were questionable, according to some of the players. They said it was a little chilly, a little bit breezy. Well, they must be perfect tonight, because we've had 100% on the doubles from Aspinall. We've had a 9-darter from Price. We've had the third best performance ever from Luke Humphries. What on earth are we going to get in our semi-finals, which will be MVG versus Aspinall? So it's Aspinall's turn to try and take out MVG in front of his audience, and then it's Littler against Humphries. This could be one of the best Premier League nights ever, right?
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? It's had a bit of everything. I don't think we've seen a big fish yet, but we've definitely seen a couple of little fishes from Nathan Aspinall. No, it really has. It's just had that all-round night for me so far, and it just makes the semi-finals even more salivating. I mean, Littler Humphries, that's always one we talk about. But the way Aspinall played, and the fight that we saw also from Michael van Gerwen, who we think might just be a little bit stiff from the injury that he had last week, that's got a different dynamic to it. But both of them, I think, are going to be really exciting, and I hope to see more of the same.
Just a question on what is coming after this. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but when some of these players, they think about playing and giving everything they've got on a Thursday night, whether it's Berlin, Manchester, or somewhere in between, if they think in the back of their mind, I've got to get on a really early plane tomorrow, I know that tomorrow's going to be a tough day, another day of travelling, they don't have that tonight. A lot of these players are going to be going home when this is done. This is the kind of night where they can give absolutely everything they've got, and when they wake up in the morning, they can just say, I don't have to do anything today. Does that make a difference?
Quite possibly, yeah, absolutely. I think you know what it's like. I mean, just travelling, even in the role of a commentator or a pundit, that's kind of hard enough in itself. But when you have to perform up on that stage, maybe even just subconsciously, players may be holding just that little bit back. They can't completely relax and give absolutely 100%, because they know that they've got the next thing and the next thing. And it still goes back really to those Luke Humphries comments about how you manage your diary in the best way. Pick those really important tournaments, pick them at the right time.
I think the narrative over the last few days, especially on the talkSPORT network as well, because we've had great deep conversations on White and Jordan, we've had it on Hawksby and Jacobs, we've had it on different shows as well, and on our talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel with Harry Durham, with various guests like Linda Duffy and Colin Lloyd. So this week the narrative has been what's going on in between the games. What tonight has proven is that when they're given the right kind of conditions, which they always seem to get 99% of the time, last week was a little bit breezy according to the players, but if they're given the motivation to put the games back front and centre, this is what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's it. I think what people obviously don't always know, when we play in the Pro Tours, behind the closed doors, that type of thing, those are pretty much always idyllic conditions. There's no noise, there's no nothing. and you know what to expect when you come to all these different venues. Yes, there are different. There might be a slight breeze, or it might be slightly colder. You can't affect you can't allow for the weather particularly, and there's lots of different things that may play on the minds of the players. But I think, the biggest thing is actually just having that freedom to think, right, tomorrow I don't have to get up, I can just have a lay-in, I can just absolutely throw everything into tonight. And that's not to say that the players don't give it their all when they're there each week, but subconsciously maybe they just have to hold a little bit back.
Is it really fair of us to say that the audience in Manchester tonight, who have been absolutely scintillating, I'll say that right now, the final that they want is Aspinall against Littler, and the final they don't want is Michael van Gerwen against Luke Humphries. Now, we're going to get a fabulous final come what may, but there are lots of people here at the AO Arena in Manchester who know exactly what they want.
Yeah, it's funny enough, we're having this conversation with Matt Edgar about darts. Quite a lot of people that come here to the Premier League, they perhaps just cheer on, they're here to see good darts, they're here to just have a good evening, that type of thing. Individual support, actually, like you do in football with your team, you want your one person. I think tonight is probably one of the most strongest sides of individual support, because you have the likes of Littler, you have Nathan Aspinall up there, they are the local lads. Absolutely, these guys are going to want to see that, but ultimately, like you say, it's going to be a brilliant final no matter who goes through.
Well, the first semi-final that we've got tonight, it is Van Gerwen against Aspinall. Nathan has gone to 12 points with that win a little bit earlier in the night. Michael has gone to 15 now. But if Nathan was to get a third Premier League victory against Michael this campaign in 2025, he would get within 2 points with a chance of equalising his 15 points tonight. So we are getting to the crunch time now in a week where we've got the Masters at Augusta. This is the point of the season in Premier League darts where you've really got to make your move. Stephen Bunting got 5 points last week. We thought maybe if he can get another nightly win off the back of Berlin, he'll be back in the race. It hasn't worked out tonight. He'll have another chance next week in Rotterdam. But if Nathan can get the jump on Michael tonight, this could be where his campaign really kicks into gear.
Yeah, and I think Nathan, as we mentioned, he was outstanding when it came to the doubling, but he was scoring well as well. I think he's one of those players that can bring it to Michael van Gerwen. They've met 3 times already just this Premier League campaign. 2 have gone the way of Nathan Aspinall, Michael van Gerwen just winning the one. Honestly, for me, I just think with this crowd, Nathan didn't look like he was under pressure to perform in front of them. He looked like he was revelling in the fact that he was performing in front of them, and I hope to see more of the same, because I do think it was a really good performance from him in that first match.
There is a bit of a pattern occurring with their games in this Premier League campaign. They're getting closer and closer and closer. They had a 6-3 in Dublin. Aspinall won that one. The next game they played 3 weeks later, that was in Nottingham, and Michael won that 6-4. But a couple of weeks ago in Newcastle, Aspinall won 6-5. Well, they can't have a draw tonight, but if they want to get it really, really close, then I suppose they're both going to have to be on a match-winning double, and one's going to hit it and one is not. But this could be a very different game to the one we get in the second semi-final. This could be about grit, determination, and if they're not playing their best darts, it's about digging deep in both cases.
Yeah, because I think they both had very similar opening matches where it was very to and fro between their competitors. It looked like it was going one direction, then it went the other, and it was the grit, determination of both Michael van Gerwen and Aspinall, I think, that really did see them across the line in the end. Whereas when it came to the likes of Littler and Humphries, who'll be in the second semi-final, that they were just outstanding, just quite no drama type performances within reason. I mean, it depends on your definition of drama. 9 darters and 118 averages. I mean, it felt quite dramatic here.
Yeah, of course. 118 average is a bit of a duff situation, I suppose, when it comes to soap operas, because that was an incredible performance, but it's not the end of the soap opera tonight. If anything, we're having 7 matches, 7 episodes here in Manchester, and John McDonnell is on the stage to bring out our semi-finalists, and they're about to welcome back another one of their home sons. Aspinall will be back, and he's up against MVG for the 4th time in this year's Premier League.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Manchester first semi-final. Time to welcome back a newly crowned Euro Tour winner. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the UK Open and US Darts Masters, a world match-playing champion. It's the Asp, Nathan
We watched him conduct the crowd a little bit earlier on, and now that he's got a win in the bank, he might just be about to get the baton out again. He's a lot of people's favourite player. They find it inspirational because even when the chips are down, he still finds a way to go all in and win.
He's that personality, isn't he, that kind of just shows hard work, brings determination that can get you places. And this is the home hero. This is one of them. And once again, arms in the air by Nathan Aspinall, conducting the crowd, and you can just hear them singing along in the background.
That famous story of having £19 and 98 pence left in his bank account, and he needed to borrow money so he could get £20 out for the day. He had nothing left. Consequently, 2 days later, he won the Players' Championship event worth £10,000, and since then, he has not looked back. Manchester is going off once again. I think we're all looking at the bright side tonight because darts, it has delivered a lot over the last couple of years, but the boys are in a good place tonight.
157 PDC titles worldwide, a 7-time Premier League champion, and a 3-time champion of the world.
This is an arena in this format that Michael van Gerwen has not been the person left standing at the end. He has not won in Manchester. Littler won in 2024. Michael Smith won in 2023, beating Johnny Clayton 6-3 in the final. The year before that, James Wade beat Joe Cullen 6-5. Boy, did James play well that night. So it could be a new Manchester winner tonight. Either of these first semi-finalists do succeed. Only Littler can become a 2-time winner tonight. He heads the table on 28.6 in front of his opponent in the second semi, Luke Humphries. Van Gerwen looking to get to 16 points, and that would put him in third position provisionally ahead of a final if he gets the victory against Aspinall here.
There's still all to play for, still lots of jostling of positions, I'm sure, over the next few weeks. But as you say, as we're getting to the business end, we're way over that halfway point. Things are starting to really tighten up at the top of the table.
I suppose we can say that in a literal sense about the anatomies of these two players, because they've both been under question over the last few months, even the last couple of years. Michael's had his operations that have either gone wrong, have had to be corrected, and he has had issues in the last 7 days, obviously with his neck. Looked okay in his first game against Chris Dobey, but he dug deep and he had some really good doubles against the man from Bedlington. But of the two, Aspinall played the better in his quarter-final earlier tonight, where the doubles were at his mercy.
It was a 6-2 win. It was a comprehensive win in the end for Nathan Aspinall. Rob Cross started strong, but Aspinall dug his heels in, never really let go. As you say, for Michael van Gerwen, it was 6-4 over Dobey, and it just felt just a little bit more of a grind for the green machine.
I think for Michael at the moment, he's finding it difficult to play darts easy. When he's played the best darts of his career, he'd be hitting bullseyes and treble 20s with his eyes closed. At the minute, there's a lot of effort in the throw. That's because of a lower right shoulder position, a different position for the dart at address. But he is moving with what he's got right now. That's a ton from Aspinall to get him down to 280 points. 303 for Van Gerwen. He'll start in the 19th.
And I think that happens to players. Obviously, there's so many things that I think personally that help you become that overall round confident player, and confidence is obviously one, obviously ability, but as time progresses, you know, your throw does naturally kind of change and adapt just based on either health reasons or just you feeling more comfortable in the position. And I think effort does come into it more.
Absolutely. Phil Taylor changed his throw multiple times over his 35-year career. 186 for Van Gerwen. He's not on a finish, but Aspinall is on 140. Small 20 to start. He's got a lovely adjustment into the lipstick with dart 2, making dart 3 almost academic. He finds a central 20 to lead tops. We're about to find out if he stays perfect on the doubles. He's on tops with Van Gerwen on 1-2 now.
Aspinall steps up to the oche, and he is perfect once again. Tops has found one dart in hand, an early break of throw for the Asp.
Here's the scary thing. He could get a certain amount of attempts at double tonight, not miss one, and still not get all the points. That's how good tonight is, but he's 7 out of 7 so far, and 2 of those 7 have been bullseyes to take legs. Aspinall started with only 60, and Van Gerwen a lot better with a 2 treble visit. He's on 3-6-1 after 3.
Aspinall just addressing that grip issue that we've spoken about, and another trebleless visit really does open the door for MVG here to break straight back.
Careers into the small one there, does Michael. He doesn't get the same sort of nestling happening in the treble 20 as he once did because of that different address point that was very eloquently talked about by Chris Mason over the last couple of weeks on our talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel and on talkSPORT 2. Here Van Gerwen on 280 has to switch. He didn't want to, but he had to. Gets a treble 19 to lead 183. Aspinall will look to attack from the halfway point of the leg at 244.
And I think that's something that perhaps players do have to address slightly more, is that switching element. Especially, as you mentioned with Michael, he will persevere for that treble 20 based on probably how he used to throw. It doesn't quite work the same. You need to be moving around switching.
And he does switch here on 183. He goes down to the 19s. He gets 5 of them. That's not bad. That leaves him on 88, but Aspinall could take a 2-0 lead here with 116. He's had a litany of big finishes tonight. He's gone for the 19s and he gets a skinny one. So treble needed, gets that. He's on tops again. Is it 8 out of 8? Of course it is! He is seeing the doubles like they're the size of Greater Manchester. This is ridiculous. You stuck him up front, he'd be scoring from the other half.
134.
Yeah, it's one of those questions, isn't it? You think to yourself, there is no reason why this this couldn't continue. This is what you're meant to be doing. But when you actually see it happening, you think it's going to have to end at some point. But kicks off leg number 3 with 177.
Can you imagine being at Augusta National at the Masters this week and hauling 8 putts from 8? This kind of thing doesn't happen, but he's on 3-2-4 after 3 darts here. He could even set up a possible second 9-darter of the night. First dart is perfect, as is the next one. Oh, and he gets a bad deflection on dart number 6, and he has to settle for a measly 184 after 6 darts with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it just went the wrong side, and only 83 in response from Michael Van Gerwen. Again, another chance. This would be for Nathan Aspinall to go 3-0 up. Finds the treble 20 bed, and again looks to switch. Sensible, but I did think the way he was lying, he was just going to stay there.
Absolutely. Maybe if Michael was on a double instead of 226, he might have gone for the 180 to lead double 2. But 48 after 9 for Aspinall. This is for a double break of throw. What's he going to leave? He's hit tops twice, but now he chooses double 16 to be 9 from 9. 9 from 9! He may never miss again. This is ridiculous. I'm running out of superlatives here, Laura. But the thing is, Aspinall is on a heater tonight. He's not just doubling well in this game, he is scoring incredibly.
Yeah, 3 from 3, but you look at the average and it's around 116 and a half as well. I mean, we've just been entertained by Luke Humphries with a 118, 115 so far, 3 legs in from Aspinall.
Well, if the International Space Station's got an X account right now, they're about to post what on earth is happening over Manchester, because that place looks white hot from space. Aspinall is seeing doubles in the bullseye the size of the earth from the ISS. Incredible performance. We've just seen a Premier League personal best from Humphries. We might be about to get the same from Nathan Aspinall, but it's that man who's just hit a max MVG. He was 3-0 down. He holds the Premier League record of 123.4 in Aberdeen against Michael Smith.
That was the first 180 of the match, believe it or not. And Michael van Gerwen back in again. 2 darts, 120 scored. Has to settle for a 140, but it does put him in a strong position in leg 4.
It really does. But Aspinall on 204 is in a position to strike here. Michael might have to take that 126 out just to get the leg. First dart is low in the treble 20. It doesn't matter. He's going to score a max, isn't he? It's amazing. And van Gerwen does have to take out the 126 to get the 4th leg. Does he do it? Starts with a single 19. And a second single means that Aspinall now has another different double. It's double 12 this time to be 10 from 10 tonight.
Adjusting. Really fine. Number 10, and it is a rare miss for Nathan Aspinall. And a look of shock on the face of Aspinall as he tries to work it in. 1 dart left, and that's 3 missed at the double.
Did hear a few whistles out there for some reason. I'm hearing them when Michael's throwing as well. That was a risk from van Gerwen. 25 for tops, and he's hit it. How risky was that? That was like drawing on a 17 in blackjack. He hits a treble 1 on 68. Then instead of going 15 for the bullseye, he decides on 25 tops. If he misses that, he looks like an idiot. But hitting it, he looks like a genius.
He's kicked us off with a 180, but I agree, it was a risky move, one that paid off in the end. But what Nathan Aspinall can't afford to do here is get annoyed. He seems to be a bit worked up from the whistles, from the noise in the crowd. We've commented that the Manchester crowd's been fantastic, but it's just always that 1 or 2 lone voices that can really upset the mood of the players.
Absolutely, and I think it was more to do with the fact that when it happened on his throw, he accepted it, but when they did it on Michael's throw as well, that really tipped him a little bit. He's got to refocus now. He's done an excellent job of it. Starts with a ton. Then that score of 131 sets up 270, which we all know he can take in 6 darts. 264 van Gerwen. What is Michael doing on the 19s? I've seen him leave more bogey numbers this year than any time in his career. I wonder why he's doing it, Laura.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it focus? I think as a player you've just got to be 100%, but you would think that these kind of numbers and routes, they just become automatic with the amount that the players play.
Yeah, if he'd hit the treble 19 on that switch, he would have left 168. Now 222, he's got a 60, but he veers into the small 1. It's a good recovery, but all 3 darts there going in at different angles. Doesn't matter what angle they're going, as long as they're in. 101 for MVG. Score's been crushed by Aspinall. 210, turns into double 15. Does van Gerwen go to 3-2 down here with 101?
Single 20 just underneath and can't find treble 19, so Nathan Aspinall will be back for double 15.
Now, does he go straight for it? He's looking bottom right, which is where double 15 always will be on the dartboard. Has a couple of resets. Misses it left, so it splits in half. 15, he's got a choice now. Single 7. It's a little high in the single, but it'll do. Double 4. That's high as well, but that will do as well. Apparently, his kryptonite tonight is double 12. Everything else he can hit. He's 4-1 up.
Yeah, he has been very solid. Michael van Gerwen, you could see him in the background. I mean, those few misses at the outer ring from Nathan Aspinall brought his average down to still well over a ton, 107.5. And now the crowd back chanting the name of Nathan Aspinall.
I suppose it's a somewhat interesting statement when you say your average is coming down to 106 or 107. It means that you've played exceptionally well, but with it coming down, it means that you aren't as playing as well as maybe you were earlier. That 140 from van Gerwen gets him to 261. Aspinall has been in position to strike at every single point of this match. On 318, He's no different here. He's looking to beat his personal best in the Premier League, which he set in 2020 in very different conditions, I might add. That was in a room with nobody in it apart from the players and the officials. That was a 6-6 draw with Gary Anderson, where Nathan averaged 107.64 and Gary averaged 94. Bit of a weird game. 259 for Aspinall here, and Van Gerwen on 162. Another bogey number. Why is he doing it?
Yeah, no idea. And what that's done with Michael Van Gerwen on 162. Aspinall knows after hitting the 180s back for 79. It doesn't matter what Michael hits now. 79 required for Aspinall.
Van Gerwen's missed a single number as well. He's left 27. Who leaves 27? It very rarely is seen in any shape or form in darts. 79 for Aspinall. He's got the treble 19. Double 11 for a 5-1 lead. Misses it high and left. He thought it was good. He steps back, almost walks back into Michael, and he splits the double 11. So he's now on 11 with Van Gerwen on 27. He looks at the 11 himself. He gets the single, double 8. Whistles again from the crowd. They don't make any difference. Michael hits double 8 with his second attempt, and it's 4-2. And now he's got one of those breaks back.
Yeah, absolutely. Van Gerwen stepping up to the oche. He has a face full of focus, but as you say, despite what it looks like when he steps up to the oche, there have been some real mistakes in this match from Michael Van Gerwen, leaving the 162, missing the single number. Just to get over the line eventually, but Aspinall back in the red bits, hit a ton.
The only night where Michael Van Gerwen has successfully fought his way through a semi-final was a rather forgettable game against Chris Dobey in Cardiff. He would ultimately lose in the final to Luke Littler by 6 legs to 4. Littler averaged 112.5. Michael played really well in that game, but didn't get the win. If he doesn't get the victory against Aspinall, there will be questions about why he's not making finals in this company, because he's used to success. It doesn't seem to be happening as easy at the minute, and Aspinall right now is staring a hole through the board like General Zod looking at Superman.
I think the conversation that we've had in previous years since the inception of this new format with Michael Van Gerwen is actually switches off, because he's actually won 2, 3, 4 of the weeks already and knows he's in a position to qualify. This is a completely different campaign from him, and one that he needs to fight to get through to.
Absolutely. He's having to work a lot harder in the middle towards the 2/3 part of the campaign. 161 for Aspinall with a 4-2 lead. He's got 6 darts from here. He's got a 60 as well to start, and he gets a bounce out. It's not a bounce out of the board, it's a bounce off his own dart. Very intelligent last dart as well. He went for the centre of the board and got the bullseye, so he's got 51 when he comes back for that 5-2 advantage. And he's under pressure now. 2 treble 19s from Michael and a 1-3-4 score to leave 89. So Nathan has a choice from 51. He chooses double 16 again to break straight back. He needs double 8 with the last dart because he's missed double 16 to the right. Same margin to the right for the last dart, and Van Gerwen could consolidate here with 89.
Single 19, 70 left, finds single 20, bullseye for 4-3. 25 is found, and Aspinall more chances to go within 1.
Double 4's been kind because it brought him his previous leg. He's back on double 4 and he's a bit jittery now on the oche. How's he feeling after dart 1? Not very good. He's a 1.5 centimetres left, so he has to go to 2s, and 2s never lose. And it's 5-2 to Nathan Aspinall on home soil. That dream final that Manchester want tonight is still possible. And even if Nathan has a bit of a blip in this semi-final with a 5-2 lead, he's still got plenty of opportunities to make that final and to get a 3rd victory against MVG in this year's Premier League.
Nathan Aspinall has had chances to have sealed up this match already. He's had actually chances at the outer ring in every single leg so far.
I think there's been a bit of banter backstage between the likes of Cross and Humphries and Littler and Price, who've all got golden darts now, and they're saying to Michael and Nathan, have you got one of those golden darts yet? I don't think you have you? We have. Well, they want a trophy in Manchester more than that right now, because that would give them 5 invaluable points. That's what they're after before they go to Rotterdam next week, which, quite frankly, the way Nathan plays there, might as well be his backyard.
2 treble found. There's a third. Another maximum for Nathan Aspinall. Maximum number 4 for the Asp.
What a performance this has been. This is the kind of stuff he's been performing with on the European Tour this season, winning the European Darts Trophy in Göttingen and making the final of the International Darts Open at the weekend. A ton from Nathan to leave 93. He's got a lead of about 270 points. Michael may be throwing in the towel here. Aspinall looking for a 6-2 win on 93. Little reset. It's a big 19. He can stay nice and safe here on 74. That small 14's fine. Big 20 leaves himself on tops, and Manchester's about to pop if Aspinall hits tops.
Yeah, I agree, and there's absolutely nothing Michael van Gerwen can do in response.
Nothing at all. It's not in MVG's hands anymore. This game has been taken by the scruff of the neck by the Asp. Tops to win 6-2. Just underneath. He has to reset to go to 10s. And 10s does give him a 3rd victory against Michael van Gerwen in the 2025 Premier League Darts. He's into another final, and it's another chance of getting a first nightly win. He's won in different arenas before, but he's never won in Manchester. And with a 101 average and another very good performance on the doubles, who's to say tonight won't be his night?
Yeah, I agree, and you could just see it was a mixture of absolute delight by Nathan Aspinall and almost relief. He managed to find a way past MVG, and it was comfortable in the end. Another 6-2 result for him, but be interesting to see which of the 2 Lukes he's going to face in that final.
What more could you possibly ask for on a night like tonight? We've had a 9-darter from Gerwyn Price, in defeat of course, because that's the tail of the tape when it comes to the 2025 Premier League. We've got a rematch of the World Final from last year where Humphries was victorious, but in this kind of setting Littler seems to have the edge. However, Humphries has beaten Littler in the Premier League this season. We will get onto that. It'll be myself and Ian Danter calling that second semi-final in very, very soon on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. But for now, it's a victory for Nathan Aspinall. A very dogged one, but littered with quality. He averages over 101 in a 6-2 victory against van Gerwen, who fails to make the final once again. He'll go to Rotterdam next week and hope to improve after a few days off. But we'll take a short break. We'll be back. But when it comes to the darts, Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Threat Protection Pro helps you dodge bogus sites, and with the Dark Web Monitor, you'll get a heads up if your personal info starts circulating in the online equivalent of the Madhouse. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The Battle of the Lukes is next. Don't miss it. talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel coming right up.